I'm Jennifer Lee Levitz, and this is Rose Baker Presents Unleash the Power of Age. We have a very special guest with us today, someone who is known to many people around Cape Ann, Gloucester in particular, none other than Mr. Howard Frisch. Howard.
Happy to be here.
I'm glad. Me too. I'm really happy we finally got you here.
Good.
So I read this mission statement that you wrote. Tell me briefly what is the Council on Aging? What is it to you? What's the real guts of it?
Well, we all support the mission of fundraising to augment the services at the Senior Center. And our challenge is to pay for things that the city normally wouldn't do, and to make life a little easier behind the scenes.
Right. How long have you been involved with the council, with the Friends?
I got involved with the Friends in May of 1989. I've been treasurer since May of 1989. And how I got involved was I joined the Rotary Club of Gloucester in August of 1988, and I volunteered to be part of the pancake breakfast. Then 6 months later, the chairman of the breakfast left, and I volunteered. I like to do this breakfast, to be co-chairman. And so they accepted it, and I went to a meeting in May or June of 1989, because if I'm going to raise money for the organization, I wanted to find what they're all about. And so I went to the meeting, and Don Cutter was there. He owned Strong and Cutter, and he was also our client at the time. And I said, I'm just here to find out what the Friends do and their mission, etc. And he said, we're looking for a treasurer. I said, well, I came here just to, no, Howard, I want you to be the treasurer. I said, well, I don't want to be the treasurer. Well, listen, you're my client. If you want to continue to be my client, you have to be the treasurer. So I said, Don, it's a proposal I can't resist, and I've been treasurer ever since June of 1989. But I liked what the mission of what we're doing, so I've stayed with the Friends all these years.
Right. So everybody thinks you're in Gloucester, you live in Gloucester, you're from Gloucester, everything, and you're not, are you?
No, Gloucester is my second home, if you will. I live over the bridge. I know that, a terrible term. You know how those people are over the bridge. But I live in Swampscott, and I've been there for a great deal of years, and I continue to commute every day.
If nothing else, the commute is sort of, I look on it sometimes as a time when you can get ready, or at the end of the day, you can decompress before you go home.
Well, that's part of it, but sometimes if I have a project I'm working on, I'll think about the project going home or how to approach it. And sometimes you get better clarity when you're just cruising along, right, and the radio is soft as there, and I'm thinking about some approach to some solution, and I think I've got some great solutions driving along 128 or 127A going home.
Sure. There's something else that some people know about you, and not everybody does. I almost introduced you as Howard TikTok Frisch. Just in speaking about yourself, could you just say something about your clocks?
Well, I actually got involved in clocks when I used to do some accounting work for Para Research with Frank Malinsky when he was in the Eastern Avenue School. Because in the early 80s, I worked on every one of his accounting software packages, and I sat in this rectangular room and faced a clock dial similar to the one that's on City Hall for like 2 years. And so I bought the clock dial, and the very next Saturday I'm driving home, and I happened to stop at a garage sale and bought a Tambor clock. It's sort of camelback clock.
Right.
I took it apart, and I liked it, and the next weekend I bought another one and took it apart, and when I released the tension on the mainspring, I didn't realize it almost took my nose off. So then my daughter, had an appointment with Dr. Sanfield in Rockport. He had an office on Whistle-Stop Mall on the second floor. So she's having a filling replaced, and I'm sitting in the lobby, I noticed there's some clock books and some Chelsea clocks on the wall. So I said to Dr. Sandfield at the time, now it's Russ, but I said, listen, I understand your clocks. I'm interested in that. He said, Howard, you're going to be my guest next week at the meeting of the New England chapter of the National Association of Watch and Clockmakers, and I've never missed a meeting, and so I belong to both the New England chapter and the Greater Massachusetts chapter.
Oh my God, I don't know how you have time for everything.
Well, without a pun, I always believe in you make time for the things you want to do and excuses for everything else.
Woof.
So the clocks have been a great therapy for me because I relax. When I'm working on a clock, the world stops. And I concentrate on that clock, bring it back to life. I like the challenge to doing it.
How many, I don't know, do you have as many as you've ever had now? How many do you have?
Well, I have a little over 1,100 in the offices and somewhere 200 to 400 in the basement. I'm not really sure. I stack them up and I get to them as I work on them.
Lucy said that I should mention that you are constantly being honored and given recognition.
My mother was a consummate volunteer. She was vice president of an awful lot of organizations. And so while my friends were out playing baseball, she'd drag me to all these events, setting tables, placemats, knives, forks, and spoons, collecting tickets, working in the kitchen. By the time I was 10 or 12, I had volunteered for more organization dinners and breakfasts than most people do in a lifetime. And so volunteering was something I find easy.
Yeah.
And really, what I like about working for not-for-profits, because it's not throwing money at it. It's throwing an idea. And it's the challenge of making money and accomplishing something that is, it's wonderful. And so I like volunteering for organizations where we've got to use this noodle to bring money in or have an event be a success. And it's
Sure.
not only the money, but it's the success of the event. People are happy, people enjoy it, and even breaking even is fine as long as everyone comes out a whole and enjoys himself.
Right. There's a lot of creativity involved, and it's community. It brings community together, and there's a lot of give and take.
Well, talking about a community, several years ago, the Friends came up with an idea to have a spaghetti dinner for the seniors, and we had Miss Tina's dance group come down and entertain, from the high school, from the Docksiders, and then Frank Stewart sing, and some other dancers. So we had nearly 200 people. We filled the hall. The next year, and we had spaghetti and meatballs, and the Rotary Club members were the volunteers in the kitchen and the passing the food out. Next year, we had about 110 people. We don't know why it was less. So one of the other board members and myself went to a bingo game, and we stopped the bingo game, which under penalty of...
I was going to say.
And we said, listen, how come very few people came to the spaghetti dinner? One woman raised her hand and said, I make the best sauce in Gloucester. All of a sudden, hands go up in the hall. Everyone said they make the best sauce, and they're not coming to eat someone else's spaghetti and their sauce. So, okay, we learned a lesson, and then we came out with an idea to have fish cakes and beans.
Oh, geez.
And then we had a lecture on what type of fish you use to put in the fish cakes. So we did that for a few years, but that's Gloucester, okay? And so we learned our lesson and served the public.
I can't get rid of that image of someone saying, I make the best spaghetti and meatballs.
No, the best sauce.
The best sauce.
And
then
there's a discussion. Some call it sauce and a few call
gravy.
it gravy. So that I'm not going to get in that dispute.
You diverted the question that I was asking about. Did you get an award recently?
In June, I received from the Seacoast Nursing Home the Service to Senior Award from Seacoast Nursing Home. Very nice. Very proud of that one.
Oh, good. Good. How about a couple more of of your most favorite moments with Rose Baker Senior with the center?
there was a moment when we had a quote to build the building for $2 million, but the city council, and it's nothing against it, said we're going to raise about $1.4 million or $1.3 million. So how we arrived at it, we told the architect get rid of the second floor, and we came into budget. So we came right on budget with that. And some other times, there was an interesting time when the city council was going to eliminate the assistant director at the assistant director at the senior center and cut back on the outreach coordinator. So again, another board member, Bob Xavier, and myself, stopped the bingo game.
Oh, jeez.
And we handed out 9 letters to each bingo participant, had them sign it, and put their address up top, and we replicated the address on each, and sent a letter to each of the city councilors to ask them to vote against the reduction in the compensation. So we sent out something like 2,500 letters to all the councilors. And then that time we had someone bust some of the people from Sheedy Park to sit in the front row, and of course they voted it down, and we didn't lose an assistant director at the center. But that was a little triumph we did with the help of the assistance of the seniors.
Really? I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I know you probably have a million of them. We are at about time, but I wanted to ask you just if there's anything else you want to say to people who might be watching about who belongs to the Friends, who can join. Is there a place for people on it?
We'll always accept people into the Friends. We have no qualifications other than you want to be a member. We're happy to have you. We're a small group of less than 15 people, but they're people who volunteer, who get involved, who are easy to say yes and have ideas. And we also have Lucy, who is a gem, and we're fortunate to have Lucy, whose heart and soul is at the senior center
Really?
a great deal of time. But one thing we've done with a lot of our projects is that we've taken a different approach when we raise money. For example, when we did upstairs, when we put windows in upstairs, or we put the overhead projector. When we got a generous donor to do that, we wrote them a thank you note, which everyone does. But the difference is we engage the people from the computer classes to make pictures of before, during, and after. And we sent them 4 or 5 pages showing the progress as they went along so they could see the tangible results of what we did. And it's a different response rather than a letter. It's saying, thank you, this is what we did with your money, and we're proud of it, you should be proud of it, and thank you very much. And we did a similar thing recently with the Cape Ann Savings Bank with the support of the city by doing something as simple as we changed all the toilets to the proper level.
They are
So,
wonderful.
Before that, I sat on 17, 18, and 19-inch rise toilets and different toilet seats to see which one is better, and I became an expert in that, by the way. And then we, ordered the partitions and had the countertops and the flooring done, and the city helped us do some of that work. And the Cape Ann Savings Bank stepped up to the plate and helped us with the balance of the resources. So it's a little thing. We painted the corridors. Recently we just had we did all the carpets clean.
Right.
We recovered the pool table. We put new lights in. We've done something in the kitchen. Changed the bingo board. It's the little things behind the scenes that make a senior center more of a home.
Right. And this is all volunteer. And one of the after our little conversation, I have some footage on last year's volunteer luncheon.
With the recognition luncheon, yes, we take care of that also.
It's going to be kind of nice for everybody. There are actually some people in it who are no longer with us. This is something that happens at the senior center.
It does.
Bittersweet.
But what we look at is that we make it comfortable. Our people are here. We want them to feel at home. We, under Lucy's direction, we have 64 different programs a month. We're very proud of that. We're proud of also proud of our SeniorNet package that's there. Over 4,000 people have gone to our classes.
Right, for computer classes.
The difference is, when I have some issues and I ask my granddaughter and I help with my cell phone, and I feel like, okay, but here in our senior classes, it's seniors to seniors.
Yeah.
And it comes across differently. Yeah. They're all patient, and we really have some wonderful successes in that aspect.
We do. I know that there isn't a day, I'm there, not every single day, but I'm there at least 3 days a week. And not just because I'm doing video. I go there and I take advantage of many of the services.
Good.
I know. One of my perpetual, something that I say almost every week in the show is that we are not just purple garbage bags for discount. And we are not just little old ladies with walkers, although there are plenty of those, and watch out for them.
We actually sell $55,000 worth of those yellow bags, the purple bags every year.
We're going to show you some of the volunteers, many of the volunteers who are being recognized regularly at the Rose Baker Senior Center. And thank you again, Howard, for being here.
Thank you for having me. Okay.
Yeah.
Volunteering, it's not just about giving. Rather, it is a way of life. Your way of making a difference. And those who are making a difference are volunteers. I appreciate your kindness. Volunteers are givers and takers. You give your time, your talents to help others, and in return you receive love and many blessings and rewards that are far greater than you can see, which are far more precious than anything. Only a volunteer can understand this. A true volunteer does not give for fame or popularity and doesn't want anything in return. They are just good people. You have been a motivating support for the Rose Baker Senior Center. Together we have achieved so much in our efforts to help make life better for our older adults. Our fiscal year 17 annual report to the State of Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs, we reported almost 4,500 seniors using the services of the Gloucester Council on Aging. In that fiscal year, 685 new people alone registered and are now participating in the activities and programs and taking advantages of the service the City of Gloucester offers at the Rose Baker Senior Center. We are delighted to take this opportunity to recognize and thank all of our volunteers who create a significant effect on the whole world.
My name is Dick Curran, and I'm here representing Senator Bruce Tarr.
I'm glad to be here. I'm co-president of the Friends, and this is just one of the many programs we sponsor throughout the year. But this is an important program because we honor the volunteers, and without volunteers, we wouldn't have this wonderful senior center.
I'm a member of the Friends Board along with our valiant leader here, Howard, and my name is Carla Grillo.
I'm Cindy Bellini, and I volunteered to cook this volunteer luncheon.
My name's Kevin Carey, Gloucester High Class of '82. Grateful to be here with everyone that's given back to the community. Wonderful event.
I work at the church here, St. Anne's and Holy Family Parish, and I come here occasionally to minister to the people, and that's my involvement.
I teach 2 classes here. One is strictly a chair yoga class on Wednesdays at 12:15, and I also teach on Thursday mornings at 10. Something called posture.
Okay, my name is Hank McCarl. I do a couple things. I provide notary services here at the Senior Center. Anybody that's interested is to call up and make an appointment. We provide the free notary services. And I also work with the Triad Council.
I work on the Triad Committee for I volunteer on that.
I worked with Triad. I worked here at the center.
I just help out with the Triad Committee.
I volunteer for the Triad Committee, and I also help out with cribbage.
I do cribbage.
I'm a greeter. I greet people coming into the senior center.
I'm Susan Goodall. I'm on the board and I do some PR when I get a chance.
Well, I'm Arthur Sheehan. I fill in as needed.
Hi, I'm Joan Gilson. I'm a volunteer reader for the Support Daycare Book Club.
I help with the tax program.
This is a fantastic place.
I sew. I fix people's hymns. I am the sewing lady.
Work for the Pancake Breakfast down Stageport Park.
I play the ukulele and I sing on a Thursday lunchtime.
I help Malcolm carrying all his ukuleles.
I used to knit and crochet, dress up dolls for them, and and baby sweaters, plenty of them.
We knit on Tuesdays. Knit for the soldiers and the veterans hospitals.
I came every Tuesday to volunteer to do crocheting and knitting for the Veterans Association. I love it.
I've been knitting for 10 years, volunteering.
I make lap afghans for the veterans and the nursing home, and I crochet the little hats for the little dolls.
Oh, I volunteered to make the dolls, to send them to, we just brought them to Pathway, to the Dominican Republic, and hospitals.
I also volunteer for the dolls.
I come from a family of doll makers, and I'm working on the Have a Heart doll.
I draw the faces on some of the dolls. And I also help with the newsletter.
I'm part of the doll group.
My name is Joanne, and I volunteer Wednesday and Fridays at the bingo hall and sell bingo pull tabs.
I serve coffee for the bingo.
I stuffed envelopes, and I volunteer when they have the parties at the table during the fairs.
I help with the annual fundraising mailings and the monthly newsletter.
Oh, I come in and do the newsletters once a month.
This table is a table that volunteers for Brown Bag. We do anything they ask us to do, and we sign in people when there's special events.
I give out the folders in my building, Sheedy Park, and I come and help whatever they need help with the newsletters or stuffing envelopes or whatever.
I do a lot of stuffing, I do the mailing, and anything like that. Whatever they ask for, I would do.
I just work on the desk.
We do all sorts of things, answering stupid questions, sell bags, insult people, whatever needs to be done.
I work at the reception desk, I drive people to medical appointments, and I try to teach people about computers.
Hi, I'm Dan Klein, and I run the computer classes here at the Senior Center.
I'm Ann Talbot, and I am a coach in the computer center.
Computer lab. It's amazing how my grandchildren got me going and says, hey, why don't you help somebody? So that's what I did. I tried to stop this. And Ed Chabot and I started the computer classes going, and by gosh, it mushroomed, so it really went good.
Most recently, a couple weeks ago, I lectured and gave a film presentation of the golden age of fishing.
I'm Rosemary Marino, and I can volunteer in the computer lab.
I am Gaspar Lafata. I'm out volunteer in the computer lab.
Vince Libro, I'm part of the computer lab, so.
And I'm talking to people out there in TV land that are looking at a picture of me, trying to explain a few things about the Rose Baker Senior Center and what I've learned about the Senior Center. It's a learning center. It's a school. All sorts of things and knowledge are given out and free. Just like our school system is free for the children, the Senior Center for adults is very educational, and it's mostly free. Sometimes there's a modest charge for whatever is used as far as material goes. But anyway, I met a fella named Ed Chabot, and he and I got together and started to learn about computers. I had first heard about them from my grandchildren who went to school here in Gloucester, and they had a computer. And he says, oh, that's a great thing, Grandpa. They can make games on them. We can play games on them. We can type letters on them. We can learn all kinds of things from them. And then I said, well, I don't know much about those. Well, that's when I first heard about them. So Ed and I got together and he said, let's see if we can find out about computers and learn about it. And there was one at the library in Gloucester. So Ed and I went to the library to get indoctrinated into computers. Well, what an education it was for me and an eye-opener. And I said, wow, the seniors down at the senior center are the people who are most uninformed about computers. Why don't we see if we can do something? So we got some information available, and doggone if more people become interested in computers, and we got a couple of them donated to our senior center. And we started a class on how to run and use computers, just the basics, turn them on and off, send email. What's email? I'd never heard of email before. And my gosh, that's something else that it just blossomed right. Well, that really got going. And the computers get more and better each time. Each year they kept modifying them. We started with floppy disks, and we went to a hard disk, and then we went to another thing, and then we get to right now, a memory stick. All this information on just a little thing in your hand, but it's something that you can have for posterity, I suppose. That it's a device where all information is stored on a magnetic strip in a little tiny chip, and it's available as long as it doesn't get into a field of magnetism and eliminated forever. Anyway, the thing blossomed on so much that we started with 3 computers. We now have 10. We ran classes, but we don't need to treat people anymore. There's so many smartphones, which is no more than a small handheld computer. And everything you hear about it, you see people talking about them and everything else. I retired from Marbell Telephone Company. When I retired, everybody supposedly had a phone, or every family had a phone. And we thought that was tremendous then. Now everybody has a computer and they carry their phone in the pocket. And oh, behold, you got your education right there. So thank you for watching me for a few minutes. It's been great talking to you, and I'm going to enjoy looking at it myself as I see it. But anyway, the Senior Center in Gloucester, the Cape Ann Rose Baker Center, is a great place. Look into it as you become a senior yourself, because it's a very wonderful place to be. Thanks again, and I'll be signing off like I used to ham on my ham radio. W1MVM, I used to be the volunteer militia, and I'll say, well, what do they say? Diddy-dum-dum-diddy, which is IMI in Morse code. So, bye-bye, everybody.